Hi, we've teamed up with UK Auto Claims to see if you could be eligible to score thousands in compensation. If you've had any cars, vans or motorbikes on finance between 2007 and 2021, go to ukautoclaims.co.uk to start your free simple check. Loads of you will have overpaid and payouts could be worth thousands, so you've got to look into it. Hit up the link below and check now for free.
Hi guys, Marty from AFTV. I am here with Robbie, the Don Lyle, after what is a disappointing result against Paris Saint-Germain at Saint-Germain at the Emirates Stadium. So, Robbie, talk to me. How did you find this tonight?
Yeah, disappointing. You know what it was, right? It was a disappointing start by Arsenal. They caught us cold. They started brilliantly. You know what I mean? They were all over us. They were pressing us, which is what they do. We've seen them do that against Villa. They did it against Liverpool. They did it against us. And they got that early goal. And that kind of subdued the place. Everyone was a bit, you know, I mean, the fans came back into it. But that really did sort of knock back Arsenal, I thought, knocked us out of our stride. And for about the first half an hour of the game, it was all PSG. They were brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And we really couldn't cope with them. They were just like ever on the move, you know what I mean? They had spaces all over. But then I thought for the last 15 minutes of that first half, we got back into it. We started getting a bit more physical, a bit more direct, and really started putting them under pressure. And when half-time came, I was like, what? You know what I mean? Because we really, I felt like we kind of had them on the ropes a bit, you know what I mean? And then we started that second half. We thought we got the goal, you know what I mean? Then got ruled out by VAR. And then after that, you know what I mean? We've had chances. Then they had the big chance at the end. So it really was a sort of a bit of a topsy-turvy game, but it's a defeat, but I don't think it's over. I really don't. I do think Arsenal still got a chance, but they're going to have to show a lot of character next week over there in Paris. I've been there before. It's a hostile stadium. You know what I mean? Their fans are really, really loud. But the Bernabeu was loud. And we went there and got a result. So this is where these players now have to show us their character. This is where these players show us this is what you have to do when you're going to win a competition like this. It's not easy. Fans who came here today, I remember I was walking up here, a fan goes to me, what do you reckon tonight, Robbie? I go, I predict 2-1. He goes, that all? I go, yo, bro, he says PSG. You know what I mean? Even me predicting 2-1, you know what I mean? I'm not entirely confident. I'm confident we can win, but they're a very good side. I felt that a lot of fans thought this was just going to be Real Madrid all over again, 3-0, 2-0, easy. I knew this was going to be a really, really tough game. But so is next week going to be for them. To win these competitions, you have to go sometimes and do something extraordinary. And that's what we're going to have to do.
Okay, so look, Robbie, you break it down really well, and I want to take it back to what you were talking about half-time, because for me, there was quite a big period of the game before half-time, as you said, where we had dominance. We had some clear-cut chances, and after half-time, and going through. For me, they started very well, and they finished very well.
Yeah, listen, they started well. Like I think you break it down well there, but we had moments in the game. Donnarumma had to pull off some great saves.
One-handed, fantastic,
that
world-class.
Save from Trossard, you know what I mean? But I do feel that, you know, next week, you know, with Partey coming back in, everyone's been saying it tonight, it's going to make a big difference. Look at the first goal. I've not seen anybody just run through the middle of us like that all season. And I think we missed Partey, and then without even having, like I say, even a Jorginho, you know, we just, that was a big error there. And they were able to run through, and they scored a great goal. It wasn't an easy finish. They scored a great goal and they went 1-0 up. But I think next week now, as I said, these players, this is it now. This is your time. To win these type of competitions, you got to sometimes go and do a madness. You got to do something extraordinary. And it can happen. We even seen Spurs that time. Remember, they were up against it. You know what I mean? They went and turned it around against Ajax. So this is where these players got to step up. And there'll be a lot of nerves at Paris Saint-Germain. They've had it on many occasions before where they're nearly there and then they've fallen apart. Even that second game, where we can take heart, is that second game against Aston Villa, where when Aston Villa then kind of really stepped it up, they beat them 3-2. And they had a couple of chances towards the end of it. And somebody said it earlier, I've noticed with PSG this season, they start really, really fast, really, but they do kind of tend to kind of fade out, fizzle out later on. So Arsenal are going to have to go there. They have to be patient, but they're going to have to take chances when they get them, and they're going to have to be very brave. But I still think we can do it. I still think we can go through.
Definitely. So, let's go back to that first goal as well, because I think you bring up a really good point. And when I watched that first goal, Mikel Merino and Declan Rice left Dembele completely open on the edge of the area. Now, do you think having a player like Jorginho or Thomas Partey is as simple as that goal just doesn't go in?
Well, listen, it's not as simple as that, but listen, the way they, even in the build-up to the goal, the way they burst down the middle of the park, that wouldn't have happened if Thomas Partey was there. We all know that. You know what I mean? Everybody just, was out of position. And it was a really, really poor goal to give away. So, I think Partey, and people are blaming other people. I think Thomas Partey's to blame. The way he got himself that stupid, ridiculous yellow card in it for a player of his experience, he's at fault tonight, even though he's not playing. Because he should never, ever have done that in the Bernabeu. You know what I mean? Right near the end of the game as well. And, very stupidly got himself that yellow card. But then, listen, after that, it's not like we gave up in the game. We tried, we went for it. You know what I mean? We had our moments, it just didn't happen. But it's only half time. So there's another leg to go, right? And the same way they come here and they've won 1-0, what if we go there and we win 1-0? And it goes to extra time. The game is far, far from over. But these players, every one of them now, is when you show your mettle. This is where you show, are you capable of winning the Champions League? Because to win the Champions League is never easy. Never easy. You show me one team that's just blitzed their way all the way to the Champions League final and it's not come up against some adversity. And the reason why that is because right along the line, you've got great sides. You've got great teams with great players, and you make mistakes, you get punished. So this is very, this game next week is going to show us a lot about this Arsenal team. Do they have it? Do they have it within them to go to PSG and turn it over? Because there wasn't a mega difference in there today. They had chances, we had chances. Can we go and take some of those chances? Can we put them under pressure in their place? Will they crack?
Yeah.
They nearly did against Villa.
And I think another thing I want to bring to the forefront and ask you about is obviously being at this stadium tonight, the atmosphere. It seemed very much to me that outside, the difference between the Real Madrid game and this game tonight, there was a slight difference in atmosphere.
Because a lot of fans just assumed that this was going to be Real Madrid all over again, 3-0, light work, right? And I think a lot of fans underestimated how good PSG are. And if you've been watching them since, that game against Liverpool, to me, over the two legs, they took Liverpool apart, even though it did go to penalties. Over the game against Villa. But that gives us heart as well, because as good as they were in those two games, they only beat Liverpool on penalties. As good as they were against Aston Villa, Villa could have quite easily have taken them to penalties as well with the chances they had. They beat them 3-2 so in that second game. So it's not over. It's not over yet. But as I said, next week is a huge week. I mean, I'd rest loads of players coming into this game on Saturday. I mean, Timber, I'd rest players like Timber, Lewis Skelly, Rice, all these players have got. I don't know what team he's going to put out.
But they knew you put out because that.
Yeah, I know, that's the problem, because he even looked on the bench tonight. It's all youngsters, it's all kids. I mean,
16-year-olds, 17-year-olds.
But I mean, it's all on that game next week, isn't it?
And you speak really well about Luis Enrique and how he set PSG out. They're very well known for their free-flowing attacking play. They attack in their droves. They flood forward and leave themselves open. Now, obviously, moving into this game next Wednesday against PSG, what do you think that Arsenal can do different if you were Mikel Arteta and you were teeing this team up to go to this place? I mean, like you said, it's a raucous atmosphere. The stadium's on top, and it's going to be intense. As people have spoken about before, they had fireworks in there tonight. They had flares and everything. They are going to bring the heat. Yeah. So
next week we've got to be more aggressive in our play. I thought that, especially at the start of the game, we weren't aggressive enough. Mind you weren't helped by the referee. You weren't allowing any aggression in that first half. That tackle by Saka was a perfectly good tackle. When he showed a bit of aggression, I thought that referee today was absolutely awful. He wouldn't let us show any aggression, but the way I feel, to beat them is to show aggression. I think they're vulnerable on set pieces.
Yep.
I saw that, I was surprised that Arsenal weren't trying to whip more balls in or say, take advantage of when you won free kicks to get the ball in, because they look shaky on almost every corner. The one that Marino scored, he was completely left unmarked. So you can get at them through set pieces, and we've got to be a bit more aggressive in our play. And to me, I think we need to be a little bit more direct as well. I couldn't understand why we were ticky-tackying around at the back for so long. I was like, get the ball up front, get it into areas where we can hurt them, because I feel that if we're a lot more aggressive next week, good on set pieces, we can definitely hurt them.
So we can do it?
Yeah, we can, but it's on these players now. They now have to show, they've got to show that they can win the Champions League. And to win the Champions League, you've got to show up in adversity.
Lovely. Well, look, thank you very much, Robbie. Please like, share and subscribe to the channel. Also, another awesome video on AFTV, Robbie with Dr. Andre, documenting his fantastic weight loss journey. Awesome video. There's loads of content on AFTV. Please check it out. Thank you very much, Robbie. Been an absolute pleasure.
We don't win that game next week, man. The weight will go down even more.